Yes, my name is Rosemary Amarado from the HRTV, and this is my video examination for GE-106. It is Science, Technology, and Society. And the first one is define each of the following: science, technology, and society. For number one is science. Science is all about knowledge and study around the world. A tackle about nature's experiment and the productions about the universe. Learning different parts of the body, include observation as benchmark of testing hypothesis. For question number two, it is define the technology. Technology is the scientific knowledge about human life and the definition of technology and how to solve the problems. For me, when we say technology, it is all about internet, email to communicate people are involved our workplace in many ways. It is society. Society is a group of individuals that is involved persistent social interaction. It is a rules of beliefs, attitudes, and behavior that are considered and acceptable in a particular social group or cultures, and relating to the characteristic of elegant society. For number four, it is science, technology, and society. It is the contribution and utilization of scientific knowledge and technological system. Also, to examine science and technology as historical practices and as social institutions. Being able to explain the theories, concepts, and methods used in examination. For question 205, it is to narrate the historical events of science and technology through the following eras below. It is the primitive age, middle age, and the modern age. For number one, primitive age. It is known as the earliest human artifacts handmade stone axes found in Africa, East Asia, were nomadic groups of hunters who used the sharp side of stone. Man's hominid axes stores contain oval axes scrapers, knives, and other stone implements, and technology was the controlling fire. Striking stone against pyrates to procedure sparks made it possible to start fire and free them from the need to remain fires from the natural resources. In research for pigments, ancient people discovered the green mineral malachite and blue mineral azurite, which they are rich in copper. Due to these qualities, the small pieces of copper was used in jewelry during 3000 BC, when they are also discovered the tin copper alloy procedure bronze. And the largest copper was found in the island of Crete. For number two, Middle Age. During the period of European history extending from 500 to 1400 to 1500 CE, traditionally known as the Middle Age. It is the first use on 15th century Western Roman empires. For the number three, it is a modern age. The modern age or human history spans from the 20th century, the first war, and ending with the advent of the digital revolution. For question 3 of 5, narrate the historical events of the science and technology through the following eras period. It is number one is pre-colonial. Number two is a Spanish colonial, and number three is an American period. For number one, it is pre-colonial. During the pre-colonial period, the Filipino, already aware of the medicinal therapeutic properties of plants, they already had an alphabet, a number of system, measuring system, and the calendar. In pre-colonial period, Filipinos are already engaged in farming, mining, and weaving. The mathematics show use in pre-colonial Philippine societies. In Laguna copper plate inscription. Okay, for number 2, it is a Spanish colonial period. The Spanish introduced formal education and founded scientific institution. And the parish school also established an religion, reading, writing, and established colleges, the University of Santo Tomas. In 1980s, Spanish friars showed that astronomy was already known the practiced, and then the account also gave the local names such as Moroporo and Balatic for Ursa Major among others. In 1987, Isaac Newton included an explicit reference to the Philippines of the Mathematica by monitoring the Leucania, the ancient Ptolemaic name from the Philippines. For number 3, it is American period. During American period was inclined towards agricultures and food processing, medicine, pharmacies, and a report by U.S. Economics survey to the Philippines in 1950. There is a lack of basic information, which were necessities to the country's industries. Lack of support of experimental work and minimal budget for scientific research and low salaries for scientists employed by the government. In 1958, during the regime of the President Carlos P. Garcias, the Philippines Congress passed Science Act of 1958, which established the National Science Development Board. For question 4 of 5, explain the con cycle from the pre-science to the paradigm. Thomas Kuhn argued that science did not evolve gradually towards truth. Science has the paradigm which remained constant before going through a paradigm shift. When currently theories can explain some phenomenon and someone processes a new theory. Paradigm under which normal science operates is rendered incompatible with the new phenomenon, facilitating the adoption of a new theory, a paradigm shift. For question 5 of 5, give an example and discuss the historical examples of paradigm shift. It is number 1 for society ethics, number 2 for natural science, number 3 for human sciences, and number 4, the last one is arts. For number 1, it is a society and ethics. Based on what I've learned about the society and the ethics from the word society, it is all about human trafficking or a lot of people who is suffering for sex slaves, laborers, children who is abused, and migrants struggling, and so on. For number 2, natural sciences. It is a subject biology, that biochemistry and chemistry, environmental science, and pharmacology. For number 2, natural sciences. It is a subject of biology, biochemistry, chemistry, and environmental science, that pharmacology and physics. You can play to your strengths or challenge yourself with a new subject by building your own portfolio units to study. For number 3, human sciences. It is all about ourselves, that people who had a individual decision making. It is a popular theories and concept based of Sigmund Freud, who is the father of the psychoanalysis. He is the influential scientist in the fields of psychology and psychiatry. It's been over 100 years since Freud publish his theories, yet his still influences thought his ideas were controversial. Sigmund Freud was one of the most we think about personality and mind. Number for number 4, it is art. Art is another paradigm shift, would be the shift between style of art. So that paradigm shift accompanied with this two different style of art could be how art became more expressive, meaningful as time went on. Interestingly, this shift show how art became more personal and become closer to the definition of art. And it's a kind of paint having a good meaning in life, like for example Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare.